What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I'm Chris, aka Beardedfilmguy, and I'm here to do my January haul. If you had told me that January was going to be like 4 days long, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have pushed you off as psychotic, but here we are. January was like 5 days long, and now we're going into February. So doing this video is a little bit of a head game for me. I can't believe we're already moving into the second month of the year, but it is what it is, and we're here. But this was a big month for releases, in my opinion. I think that this was a pretty surprising kickoff to the year for a lot of people. I've seen a couple hauls already, and people were like, yeah, I picked up so much more than I ever could have imagined, and kind of seeing that across the board, everybody's sort of in the same boat. So I have a stack of titles here. I don't know how many there are. But the most recent being yesterday and today, so the 30th and the 31st, there were still titles rolling in. So it was time to sit down and kind of go over all of them. Might have a couple words about some, might not. So let's just dive right into this massive pile I got here. First up, Jess Franco, we have Blue Rita. This is from, this was put out by Full Moon Features. It is a Jess Franco film. They, I guess, got some distribution rights for some Jess Franco films. They have Voodoo Passion coming out next week, I think it is. And I just want to dive into more of Jess Franco. And I know Severance put out a bunch. Vinegar Syndrome's put out some. But this was only like, I think, $13 at the time that I ordered it. It came really, really quickly. It came with a slipcover. It might not be the best release. I've actually heard word that it's not the best release, but I don't really care. I'm just happy to have some more Franco in the collection. And yeah, so a couple bucks. And hopefully I dive into this one soon. This is no bonus features. I mean, it has an interview. It doesn't state whether or not it's a new or anything like that. So this is from 1977. Blue Rita from Full Moon Features. That disc tray in there. It's very, very loose. Next up, we have from RLJE, Suitable Flesh. This was one that I remember reading the feature article for this in Fangoria, and they were talking about H.P. Lovecraft and Barbara Crampton, and I was like, yeah, sold. Like, there's absolutely sold. And then you throw Joe Lynch into the mix, and and Body Swap, and mention Reanimator, and mentioned From Beyond in an article, and it was pretty much like I was sold. I was going to watch this movie no matter what happened, no matter what the feedback was from it, but I've heard insanely positive things about the film. I know it was a little weird, like it did a limited theatrical release, and then it dropped on Shudder. I didn't watch it when it came on Shudder, just busy doing other things, and then the Blu-ray came in from a pre-order, so super happy to have it. Really happy to see RLJE still doing team-ups with Shudder to put these films out on physical media. It looks like we have some features on here. We got a cool commentary behind the scenes, as well as a conversation with the composer. So cool stuff on this for only like the $14.96 that it costs. So Suitable Flesh. All right, cool little pile here. So I went to a little like resale store, I guess is what you could consider it. Called Bandit Video here in my area, and they have some, a mix. Every now and then you can find some really good stuff in there. Sometimes you find nothing, but I went with my brother just to kind of check out what was going on there, and I found a couple things. The first thing I picked up, which I couldn't believe we didn't have in the collection, was David Slade's 30 Days of Night. I came home one night, and Erica was watching this. It was before we owned it, so she was streaming it somehow. I kind of caught the last half of it, and I was like, damn, I forgot how brutal this movie is. Just how brutally violent this is from pretty much start to finish. And after that, we actually watched, or I showed her Dark Harvest, which was one of my favorite films from last year, directed by David Slade. If you haven't seen Dark Harvest yet, do yourself a favor and check it out. Worth all day the $5.99 rental price for that. But I walked into Bandit, and I found 30 Days of Night. I was like, yeah, well, I need this. And this is one that we do need a 4K of ASAP. And then, because I was so excited about a release to come that's later in this pile, I found this here, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up and try it. And that is the remake of Conan the Barbarian. I've never seen this before. It's probably terrible. It was directed by Marcus Nispel, who did the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of my favorite remakes of all time, and then the 2009 Friday the 13th, which is another favorite of mine. So he's got a really cool style. Brutal filmmaker. The violence in his films, you remember from those, are very... they have a certain style to them that I really appreciate and like. So I picked this up for only a couple bucks. I figured check it out. And the completionist in me was like, man, if you're going to have the originals, you got to have the remake, right? So that's the toxic side of my brain there. And then I picked up a stack of DVDs, one of them being Lucio Fulci's New Gladiators. Sorry about the glare there. This was a Trauma DVD release, if it'll focus here. And actually Severin put this out on Blu-ray. It was like Warriors of the Year 2072, I think is the alternate title for it. This was only a couple bucks, but this was really cool because it's a Fulci film I'd never seen. I heard of, but I'd never seen it. It's a Trauma release, but on here you have a commentary track by the Fulci Institution, interview with Dario Argento, a rare interview with Antonella Fulci, Lucio's daughter. So there was some stuff on here that, for like the $1.50 I paid for it, was really like intriguing to me to pick up. So I grabbed New Gladiators. The DVD collection is growing yet again. I kind of stopped for a little while, but it's making its way back. And then another one I picked up is actually a miniseries. This is Stephen King Presents Kingdom Hospital. I remember this from when I was younger. I think this was 2004. There's a lot about the show that looks familiar to me. I don't know if at the time I had maybe caught it on TV or whatever, but this was actually sealed when I picked it up. And it's really cool because there's actually a commentary on the first episode that includes Stephen King. So I'm trying to kind of round out his miniseries adaptations, and this was a cool one to run into because I didn't even have any... I completely forgot it existed. So I had no intention of trying to seek this one out. I just came across it and ended up grabbing it. This one... I grabbed House of the Dead 2. Yeah, they made a sequel to the Uwe Boll 2003 House of the Dead. I had this DVD when I was a kid. Sid Haig is in this. I remember this being a half-decent zombie film. I was like, yeah, for like the $1 that I'm paying for it, I'm going to check it out again. So, I grabbed House of the Dead 2. It's got a making of on it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know why we do what we do sometimes, but we just do. Another one I picked up, this is Rob Lowe in Salem's Lot. This is the miniseries adaptation, 181 minutes. I remember seeing this. It was directed by Michael Salomon. I remember seeing this. There's like moments of this in my head that I recall and I remember from when it was on TV, but I really don't remember. Was it a miniseries or was it just a 2-night? It's 3 hours long, so I think it was just like a 2-night event that they played the film over, but I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, Salem's Lot. You have also Andre Braugher, Donald Sutherland, Rucker Hauer in this, and James Cromwell as well. So I'm looking forward to checking this out again, revisiting that. One of my favorites of all time, Rose Red. I still think a company needs to put this out on Blu-ray. This is still to this day one of my favorite King adaptations. I thought there was a loose disc. Long as hell, 254 minutes. And the trays in this thing are loose. But when I was a kid, of course, the head in the refrigerator scene was always my favorite. But we used to watch this all the time. Over the course of it was like 2 or 3 days we would watch it. They would do like part 1, part 2 on TV, on TNT or whatever it was. So I ended up picking this up. I was on the hunt for this for a long time, but this is one of the adaptations that I think needs a Blu-ray release pretty much ASAP. So I picked up Rose Red. And then another one, this is Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I actually had this when I was younger. Don't know how I got rid of it, but this is 378 minutes, 8 stories from Stephen King. This has the one... What's it called? Well, Battleground, I remember. And then the one where the guy is like bit by a snake and he goes into such a deep level of like a physical comatose that they actually think he's dead, but he's mentally awake and he gets brought to the morgue And that's a crazy story. I'm pretty sure it's like episode 1 of this little show that they did. It was called... Let's see if I can find it on here. It was called... I don't remember. Oh, All Topsy of Room 4, it was called. So that one always stuck with me. Always thought about that one. Is that no, thought I saw somebody recognize it now. I think there is, but... Yeah, so Nightmares and Dreamscapes, another one that I think needs a Blu-ray release ASAP. So here we go. A couple cool pickups. I've never seen these before. I've never even heard of these. These were actually sent to me by somebody on Instagram, so thank you for this. I got Don't Screw in the Woods 1 and Don't Screw in the Woods 2. I've heard some absolutely crazy things about these. I am a big supporter of indie horror. Wild Eye Releasing actually put out the second one with a slipcover and poster and stuff. So I'll check these out soon. I'm not expecting great things, but I'm also the guy who had nothing but positive things to say about Kill Her Goats. So do all that with what you will. So anyway, Sleepless from Dario Argento. I picked this up from Diabolic. This was actually put out by, I think this is Cauldron Film? Oh no, Scorpion Film, or Scorpion. Scorpion Releasing put this out. Just trying to have the complete Argento collection. I'm not really too familiar with modern day Argento. This is from 2001. So this was kind of like the time where they weren't really... They kind of started giving him some money again. So a little bit of a rough spot, but I've heard some really good things about Sleepless, especially as a post-80s Argento film. And this was only like $15, so I picked this up. It is a beautiful slipcover, though. So cool release. It looks like we have a new audio commentary, a bunch of new interviews on here as well. So, not a light release by any stretch of the imagination. So, Sleepless. This was cool, and I don't know if I can show this. But this is... I'll show it like this. The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And this is actually from Raven Banner. I can show you the back artwork. There you go. Check that out. So as you can imagine... Let me just cover this up. So this is the front of the slipcover, right? And then when we remove it... This is the inside artwork. What sold me on this was the fact that I didn't own this movie and the art. Believe it or not, man, though, Raven Banner is a company out of Canada. This came so quick. I ordered this within days of ordering something from Umbrella from Australia, and this came in like 3 weeks sooner than that. So super fast shipping from Canada. Trying to find the name of the artist who did this cover art here. He actually followed me over on Instagram. I'm going to have to probably add it in later. Yeah, just a plain inside here, but fantastic work. I think a film like Autopsy of Jane Doe deserves this type of treatment. It's such a good movie. Andre Overdahl. The only thing that bothers me is on the slipcover there is no titles on the side, so when it's on the shelf it's just black. But that's okay. Beautiful, actually stunning release from Raven Banner there on the art side. So next up I have 3 pickups from Severin. I already did a full video on these, but these were part of their Black Friday pickups. These are 3 Mikhail Sawavi films. You have The Sect on 4K. We have The Church on 4K. And last but not least, we have Cemetery Man on 4K. I'll link kind of up here somewhere where my reviews were for these. These were incredible. Some of the best releases of the year so far. I say that because I didn't get them till January. But just beautiful, beautiful transfers. Great artwork. Severin just absolutely crushing it yet again with these releases. So all 3 of those fantastic. I already ordered... placed my order for... I don't know if it's February or March releases. So I'm looking forward to getting those soon. Alright, cool section here. My buddy Brandon and Bruce, he's been on this channel a bunch of times. We took a ride to the Archive, which is the physical store for Vinegar Syndrome. It's in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's about a 3-hour drive from me here in New Jersey. We took a ride up there at the beginning of the month. and left with some really cool stuff. So I did a haul video on this already, so I won't go over too crazy on these. But from Dark Star, I grabbed King on Screen. This is an awesome documentary about Stephen King adaptations. Ton of awesome information in here. Just an all-around great insight from the filmmakers actually that made these adaptations and brought them to life. Guys like Mick Garris, Frank Darabont, they're all in here. If you get a chance to pick this up, please do. I think the slipcover edition's already sold out. But awesome documentary if you're like me and you love and you can't own enough documentaries about movies. I left there also with 2 other documentaries I didn't have already. One of those being the definitive document of The Dead from Synapse. Give me anything that's about the making of Dawn of the Dead and I'm buying it. And I did not own this before. So I grabbed this. This is cool too. It actually has an exclusive poster on the inside as well. I also got Unearthed and Untold. This is the Pet Sematary story. Mary Lambert's Pet Sematary, obviously I love. Probably one of my favorite horror films. I'm slightly a bigger Pet Sematary 2 fan. I just feel like that is Mary Lambert doing her thing, not being restrained in any sort of way. But yeah, I love the original Pet Sematary, so documentary about the making of that. I've watched like half of this before. I need to revisit it again though, so I did pick that up. And then, of course, I was after this. It was one of the reasons that I actually kind of wanted to go. I didn't know it was one of the reasons I wanted to go until I got there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need this. And I got it. I was back and forth a little bit. Brandon was like, yeah, man, you just need that. I picked up Vinegar Syndrome's Lost Picture Show. This is absolutely a phenomenal release, sort of celebrating their 10-year anniversary. This thing is hunky, chunky. There's 2 books in here, 2 slipcover versions, 2 slipcovers, 2 cases. Like, this thing is just packed. And I think there's, if I remember correctly, 10 movies in here, as well as a documentary that I've heard nothing but incredible things about. So I did do an unboxing of this over on my Instagram if you wanted to check it out. But this was such a beautiful release from Vinegar Syndrome, and the perfect encapsulation of what Vinegar Syndrome is as a company. Finding these films, restoring them, archiving them, keeping them alive. Such a beautiful release here from Vinegar Syndrome. So I did grab that. Of course, too, January, the month of the Arrow 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble. And I was actually shocked at how much Barnes & Noble had this month. Their Arrow collection outside of this month, like when I was there for Criterion in November, they had like nothing. Pretty much zero. Zit. Nada. And then I went back and I was very, very, very happy with what I found. One of those being, this is the Arrow Enter the Video Store collection. This is the standard one. I didn't feel like balling out for the big boy limited one. Because believe it or not, I didn't really grow up with any of these films outside of Dolls. And so there wasn't a lot of attachment to them. I just know... I knew that... it's got a little rip on the front, even on the top. I didn't even notice. I just knew that how influential these films were for Charles Band fans and for film in general. So I wanted to grab it, the early edition. I think it was like 40, maybe $50, and it was at my local Barnes & Noble. The only film I've watched in here so far was The Dungeon Master, and I had a ton of fun with it. So added this to the collection. I'm really, really happy about that. I also added Waterworld on 4K. This is a movie I did not grow up with. I didn't have any sort of attachment to this movie. I think the only thing I know about it is that it was a massive bomb, and it's a really cool stunt show over in Universal for it. So I wanted to pick it up and give it a go in the best possible quality and best possible release. So I grabbed Waterworld. And then to round out the Jallow Essentials collection that Erica kicked off my love and obsession for in December, I grabbed the Jallow Black Edition. This one has... I am a mess today, right now. So this one has Smile Before Death, The Weapon, The Hour, The Motive, and The Killer Reserved 9 seats. So really looking forward to diving into this. We're getting ready for Yellow, which comes out in March. So happy to be all caught up with these and have all of them before the new one comes out. And that's not the end of the Barnes & Noble era haul, but we're almost to the end. So I mentioned this earlier that I had an order coming from Umbrella, and that is Stigmata. This is their limited edition. I think I had number 1,305. I have the J card somewhere with the limited edition number on it, but this was a film that I hadn't seen in so long, and it's a movie that when I was a kid, I did not grow up in a religious household or anything like that. It always felt like wrong to be watching this just because of the imagery and everything. And Umbrella's been absolutely crushing it with these limited edition releases, and I didn't have any of them so far. So I figured I would check one out and dive into one. I'm really, really happy it was this one here. I did a full unboxing over on my Instagram via a reel. But very, very happy to have this release, and that's Stigmata. And then, of course, this is cool. So, this thing came a little knocked up, a little banged up, but that's all right. I have here a Spanish release of Boogeyman 1 and 2. Boogeyman from 2004, I think it was. 2005, it was. There were two movies that came out in the 2000s when I was younger that I love that I felt like never got enough attention. It was Boogeyman and Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls has a very hard to find out-of-print Blu-ray in the US. And I was like, yeah. So one night we were sitting down, we were on HBO, we threw on Boogeyman. I was like, man, this movie rules. So I found this region-free edition with English audio. It's a limited edition release of 1,500. I got number 666. So that's cool, but I don't know the company that put it out. But it's cool because you kind of slide this out like this, and then you have a case that opens like this. And there's some art cards in here as well. So really, really cool release. It's got some bonus features and stuff like that on it. But I was shocked at how much I actually enjoyed Boogeyman all these years later. I was like, when we threw it on, I was like, man, this is probably like so out of date and so old. Like I'm gonna be so disappointed that I loved this movie when I was younger, and I was pleasantly surprised that I still enjoyed it. And I've never seen Boogeyman 2, so I picked up this really cool release of it. I was also shocked when I went into Barnes & Noble to find the 4K release by Neon of Oldboy. This is a very, very nice cloth-bound digibook release. Little art cards and stuff in here. I had this on the back burner as like I want to pick that up release on Amazon, and I just never did. I was like, yeah, I'll wait. Maybe they'll release a standard one. It was like $60-$70. Walked into Barnes & Noble one night, and there it was, just sitting there. And it was like 40% off, so I only paid, I think, like $42 for it. So Barnes & Noble coming in clutch with those sales sometimes. Rarely ever, but sometimes. So I grabbed Oldboy, and then because I got that, I went ahead on Amazon for $10 and I grabbed the Spike Lee remake of Oldboy. It's been a long time since I've seen either, so I'm really excited to check both of these out. I also got Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. This came in yesterday. I missed this one in theaters. I think at the time this came out, there was just a lot going on with the move and all that kind of stuff, so we missed it. But super, super happy to own it and finally have it in hand. That actually just came in yesterday. And then today, I took a ride over to Barnes & Noble yet again. I've been to Barnes & Noble this month, I think, more than I've ever been in my entire life. So that's good. That's been fun. And I picked this up for order. It was funny, when I went in and I grabbed it, the cashier was like, dude, I've rung out like 6 of these in the past hour. Like, what's up with this thing? So we had a cool little discussion kind of breaking this down and stuff. But I picked up the Conan Chronicles from Arrow. This is the 4K release. They had both of the standard editions. They were like $20 some a piece, so they had this for $45. And I think $40 $45, something like that. And I just went ahead and got the big box. It's still got everything that comes with those individual ones. But I just grabbed the big box. It was easier for me, in my opinion. I love this big old thick boy here. Big book in here. Of course, you have individual cases as well as the posters in here. Really excited to revisit these because these weren't films that were very influential in my childhood, but I've always seen clips and things in here and there of them. So I'm really excited to check them out. I don't know if it's going to be the first time. I might get halfway through and be like, man, I've seen these before. I'm a dumb. But yeah, to pick them up, Arrow just has outdone themselves with this release of the Conan Chronicles. And super happy that this is what rounded out the month of January for pickups. Listen, there was a lot of talk about physical media being dead coming into this year. Everybody was upset because of Best Buy dropping out of physical media. But there's been like this resurgence, this boom, right, where a lot of news outlet, media outlets have kind of picked up on people in the physical media collecting community, and it's almost like it's a little bit of like a cult status going on about it, right? You have like people who obviously support it, and then you have people who are just going way overboard about it, as much as any other, area of collecting, right? You're going to have your diehards, you're going to have your casuals, you're going to have, every bit of it. But as somebody who, I love physical media, I support physical media, just like all of you guys do. Everybody who I follow on Instagram, everybody who follows me, like we all have this shared love. And super excited about this year for collecting. That's pretty much all I can say. There's so much cool stuff coming out, and the quality of things have gotten so good. We have studio releases putting out beautiful you have studios putting out beautiful releases, sort of in that boutique style with that love and that care and booklets and art cards and all of that stuff. A lot of people are getting on board, like Neon with the Old Boy release. It's such a cool release, and our boutique labels are thriving, like Arrow with Conan on 4K, both Conans on 4K, giving it that deluxe treatment. Just so much cool stuff happening in the world. And yeah, you might not be able to walk into Best Buy and find new media releases, but Barnes & Noble's been stepping up heavy. They have a ton of stuff in their store. And the online market for it is just doing awesome. Like, I'm super excited to be a part of this community now more than I ever was. Like, there's just so much cool stuff happening. And this community here, we recently hit 500 subscribers just the other day, and I was like, man, 500 people like hang out and watch watch this stuff. Like, that's incredible. So there's been just amazing support. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know 500 subscribers is nothing to some people, but it's a big deal to me. It's a very, very big deal to me. And it shows me that I need to continue doing this, continue growing this, and continue kind of playing my part in this big old love of ours that we call collecting physical media. So do me a favor, drop your favorite January release down below. Even if you didn't see it in here, let me know what your favorite release was. Go over on Instagram, follow me over there. It's the same name, Beardedfilmguy. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thank you for an incredible 2023. Thank you for 500 subscribers. Now we're at like 510 or 515 or something. So thank you so much. A lot of really cool stuff coming. So I can't thank you enough. Later.